Jewel Staite.
This is so official. Thank you. Hi, you guys. That was crazy. Thank you so much. I was not expecting that. Thanks.
So of course we all love her because of her appearance on the X-Files, right?
Yes.
That's why we're here, or because of the Nickelodeon and Disney Channel shows, right? No, we're here because of Serenity and Firefly.
Thank you. And Stargate.
Playing the Doctor on Stargate Atlantis. You were the third cast member from Firefly that made your way over there.
Was I?
You were.
See, it's news to me. I don't know.
So we're going to line people up on the sides and ask you a bunch of questions. I just want to start with a couple little ones, though. What is it that you love so much about acting that allows all of us to love what you do?
You know, I started when I was 5, so it's all I really know how to do. Like, it was my first job and my only job. It's the only job I've ever had. And it's a rush. I mean, when you love what you do, I'm sure some of you know, it's just this rush of a feeling and an addiction in a lot of ways. So when I haven't worked for a little bit, I get that itch and, you know, need to do something. It's a good creative outlet for me, I guess.
You've played characters that are dark and brooding and swear a lot. You've played characters that are trying to start orgies in small towns.
I have.
You've played characters that are sweet farm girls that love strawberries.
Yes.
But what character have you played that you think is the most like you?
Oh, that's such a good question. You know, I don't think I've ever played anyone who's just like me, and that's the fun of it. I mean, no one really wants to go to work and, you know, play somebody who's exactly like you, because it's no fun. You don't really get the same sort of workout, so to speak. So yeah, I've always kind of chosen people that are a little offside to who I actually am, because it, you know, excites me more.
Let you feel it out. Now let's start asking questions.
Yeah.
Where are questions? Right here, number 1.
Hi, I'm Jeff. Your show, Flash Forward, got me ready for junior high. I'm wondering, what were you and Ben Foster like back then?
Oh, I'll tell you a story. Well, a lot of people don't know. We were best friends, and then Ben actually became my first boyfriend. Ben Foster was my first love. It's true. And I have nothing but great memories from that show. It was a lot of fun for us to do, and we were so heartbroken when it came to an end. But yeah, we dated for like a couple of years after that show. So that's what I remember.
Next question with
Weird.
Baby Wonder Woman there.
I used to not tell that story, and now I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna say whatever I want to say now. Enough time has passed. I don't have a filter. Hello, you have a tiny Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I'm Nathan, this is Emma. And with Firefly hitting its 15th anniversary, how does it feel to be a part of a series that went 14 episodes and is now 15 years strong?
You guys, it's so crazy. The fact that people keep coming out and listening to the same stories over and over again is just like, we can't wrap our heads around it. And as long as you keep coming, we'll keep coming out to see you and to meet you, because it's fun. And you know, that show has nothing but good memories for me, despite the cancellation. That day was not so fun. We got really drunk that day, however. But it's a very nice thing to be able to come to these conventions and do panels and relive those memories. I will never get sick of talking about it, because it means so much to me, and it has changed my life in so many ways for the better. And that cast is still very, very close to me. They're like my family. We love each other and argue like family. It's just, it's very precious to me. And it makes me very happy that it's precious to you too. Because although it was short-lived and we were very much the underdog, we care for it still so much. And this is a very weird way for us to keep it living on, but it works for us, and I'm glad it works for you too.
So, like little Emma here, there's a whole new generation of people watching Firefly and Serenity. How's that been? A whole new group?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, it's so nice when you see these. Yesterday, there was just this cute little girl who came through dressed as Kaylee, and it's such a nice feeling to know that the parents are passing it on, and I'm going to do that as soon as my son's old enough. For sure, he's going to be forced to watch Firefly. But yeah, I get a lot of lovely gifts from conventions and get to bring them home, and my husband loves all the Kaylee stuff. When we met, he was like, oh, what do you do? And, so I told him, and what's Firefly? So he watched it, and he's like, oh my God, you're so great at that. You're so sweet in this show. She's like you, but nicer. He's not wrong. So any of the Kaylee stuff I bring home, he puts in his office. So his office looks like this weird, creepy Kaylee shrine. But he loves it. It goes to good use, is what I'm saying. But our son has kind of gotten to know it. So he comes in the room and goes, Mama, Mama, Mama. And I brought home this little Kaylee doll, and he's playing with it the other day. And, I'm videotaping him because I tape him doing everything. And he looks at it and goes, Mama. I'm like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so slowly but surely I'm going to pass the torch along as well.
If you want to see that cute little Kaylee photo, it's on your Twitter account.
It is. It's on my Twitter, my Instagram. I should have asked the parents first, but I don't know why I didn't. She was just so cute. I just had to share it. So, yeah.
So, and your husband was an actor as well for a short time. You were on a show together?
We were, but that's such a weird thing. Like, my he's so crazy. He went to his very first audition for a show called Higher Ground that I did, and he got the part. It was one line, and he said he was so nervous and so scared in his audition. All he had to say was, heads up, and then he throws a football. But he booked the part, and we didn't even know each other back then, but we just happened to be on the same show, very weirdly, not in the same scene or anything like that.
Years later?
Yes, years and years later. And he also, his friend ran an extras agency, and they were shooting the Chronicles of Riddick in Vancouver, which is where we live, years ago. And his friend who runs the agency says, we need more bodies, we need more extras for the day. Would you mind coming down and just standing in and being an extra? And Charlie thought, yeah, sure, why not? So they dressed him up, he's a big tall guy, and dressed him up in this warrior outfit. So you can see him for a split second in Riddick, but Charlie's favorite thing to say is he loves to talk about his time on Riddick. And it makes me and all my actor friends just die laughing. We went to New Zealand for a convention, and they were really kind to us and gave us a tour of the Weta workshop, which was amazing.
They built
Highly
all the
recommend
props
it.
and costumes and things for Lord of the Rings.
I mean, for everything. You would be surprised what Weta attaches their name to. It's just unbelievable all the work that they've done. But they had all the costumes, in glass cases for us to look at and admire. And Charlie's looking at one of them, and he goes, "This reminds me of my time on Riddick." He's serious, and that's the best part, is he doesn't realize how funny he is. He's for real being serious. So I'm always like, when's the Riddick panel? Anyway.
All right, next question up.
Hi, my name is Megan. I'm a cake decorator by trade, and I was wondering what your ultimate fantasy birthday cake would be. What it would be decorated like, what the flavor would be, filling, all that jazz.
Whoa. I don't know. I'm a big fan of cookie dough. Anything sort of cookie related, so something like that. But when I really get down to it, I'm a savory person. I love cheese, so a cake made of cheese would be the cake of my dreams. Right? Cheesecake. Oh, that's a thing already, though.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Denise. So my question is, where is Kaylee? Is Kaylee still flying? What is Kaylee doing?
Oh, I hope so. It kind of breaks my heart to think about those people not being together and not doing that. I would hope they would still be flying around somewhere getting into trouble. It would be really nice to see them and where they are now. But I always wanted Kaylee to be a mom. I thought she would make a really wonderful mother. And I thought Simon would make an amazing father. He's nurturing and kind and gentle, and I think they would be really good parents. And Sean agrees with me, by the way. We both say the same things whenever we're asked this question. We should have had a lot of babies. So that's what I would hope. And I think it would mellow out now a little bit too. Spend some time with a baby, just chill, you know, cuddle a baby every once in a while, relax.
Maybe on board. All right, next question.
To me, one of my most important things that you've done was postpartum pictures after you had Wilder.
Oh, thank you.
Is being intentional about advocating for women's issues something that you are doing, and what is the next step?
I don't know if it's totally intentional. I think, you know, it's important to me to normalize things a little bit more. I think, you know, on Instagram and on social media platforms and even in magazines and such, there are all these really beautiful airbrushed photos of women and their teeny tiny babies after they've given birth with like the perfect blowouts and like a face full of makeup, and I'm like, that's not reality though. You know, I looked like hell for at least a couple months there, very sleep deprived. So I wanted to make sure I posted a picture of what reality looked like at 5 in the morning when I've been up all night. But thank you, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Talking about having a different perspective of a lot of female actresses, and a question you get asked a lot was on Firefly, you were asked to gain 30 pounds.
Yep.
20.
20
Yes.
pounds.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, Joss was very adamant that he wanted something in the contract to say that I was not allowed to lose any weight, and he wanted Kaylee to look like she enjoyed life. And, you know, I was a 19-year-old girl who already ate everything I wanted, and I was teeny tiny anyway. It's not like that anymore. I have to work at it a little bit now. But yeah, so they offered to hire me a nutritionist and all of this stuff, and I just said, no, I'm just gonna go for it. So I basically just gorged myself for 3 weeks and put the weight on, and had to keep it on throughout filming. So I was just constantly eating. And I remember Nathan coming up to me at the crafty table, and I was eating a donut. He said, how are you today? And I said, full. So once the series was over, I just went back to normal eating habits. And when the movie was greenlit, I said, are you gonna make me do that again? And Joss was like, no, you just be you. It's not like I'm gonna find another Kaylee, you just be you. So, yeah.
Who has had the best catering?
Who has had the best? Stargate Atlantis. That's the best catering I have. Oh, you know what? Uh-oh. No, they just got trumped. Blind Spot. Blind Spot had the best catering. They had an omelet bar. I got to work, I was like, what is happening? They had a whole, you know, fruit stand with cut up beautiful, like exotic tropical fruit, and they had 5 types of granola, and I was like, I don't know what to choose. I'm just going to eat everything. Because it's free, you guys. And you just have to get your fill while you're there. But yeah, Stargate was insane. We had Steve and Anthea, our caterers, we'll never forget. Anthea was a pastry chef. So she would build these 5-tiered cakes every day, and everybody would eat them. Every morning they made me the best breakfast sandwich I've ever had in my life, and I called them crack sandwiches because it was such a bad addiction. And I got David Hewlett on it, and I got Jason Momoa on it, and Jason would eat 2. And we were all like, what are we doing to our bodies? This is so bad. And we started gaining weight as time went on, and you can see in the seasons of Stargate, everybody gets a little bit bigger. And by season 5, David Hewlett's jacket is open because he can't zip it up. I went to the wardrobe department because I was like having trouble doing up my pants. And I went to the wardrobe department and I was like, so you guys, let's not put my stuff in the dryer. Let's like take it to the dry cleaner. And they were like, we don't put your stuff in the dryer. And I was like, good talk. But yeah, such delicious, delicious food. I miss it so much.
All right, next up.
Thanks for being here. Throughout the show on Firefly, there was hints, or it was outright stated, there was a hidden past about some characters. In Nara and book, to be specific, and I was wondering if there's anything that you guys knew about your characters that didn't get to come out? Anything about Kaylee we would have been able to explore?
No, Kaylee had no deep, dark secrets. She just wasn't that type of gal. Yeah, we didn't really get much information during the shooting. It was mostly after when Joss started slipping things to us and telling us things about the past, which was so bittersweet. It was exciting for us to know, but also like, I'm never going to be able to play that out on camera. But yeah, I mean, there were a gazillion stories to tell, and he had, his big, beautiful brain was full of them. So it's sad that we won't get to know a lot of them. Maybe, you never know.
All right, next question.
So Nathan, Joss, Ron, they all said that Kaylee was the heart of the ship, of Serenity. Is that something that was meant to be, or is that just your persona and all the touches of Kaylee in the ship, the paint, your sign, and all of that?
I didn't necessarily play it like that. I think, to Kaylee, this was her family, and she was so in love with that ship and decorated it like a home. She had love for everybody on board, even Jane. She did. She loved him like a big brother, big annoying brother. And he loved her too, like a little sister. And I love their moments together. Those are some of my favorite beats in the show. That scene in Serenity when after the Reaper has been killed and he's sort of shoving him down into the, whatever that's called. I'm not really a mechanic in real life. Sorry to break it to you. But I love that beat because they're both kind of talking out loud and just kind of listening to each other. It's great. And of course, the moment when she's getting operated on after getting shot and he's looking through the window to make sure she's okay. So I love that they said that. I love that they feel that way. But, to Kaylee, it was more of a family, and I think she felt that way more than anybody else did on board.
So I asked people online for questions, and one of the questions that came up a lot from women that cosplay as your characters. What was your favorite outfit that you wore as Kaylee?
Not the pink dress, y'all. Yeah, no. That, if you see the lovely ladies dressed up in the dress at various conventions, if you look very closely, you can see the look of regret in their eyes because it's a very difficult thing to wear all day. It's very difficult to pee in, so they're very thirsty, these people. They're very thirsty. My favorite thing I got to wear was this cute little dress in Out of Gas, in the flashback sequence. You know the one. And I loved it so much that they let me wear it again in the message. And I should have taken it. I should have taken it with me. I was just, raised at a young age that you don't steal, so I didn't take anything from the show, and I'm just kicking myself for it because I should have.
Right, nobody took anything from the show, right?
Everybody took everything. Everybody took everything. But me and Sean, we're cut from the same cloth. We're both like, you can do that? But yeah, I mean, Nathan has so much stuff in his house. He has like a cabinet. You think I'm joking? I'm not. When I took my husband to Nathan's for the first time, he was like, you are not kidding. It's like a glass shelf just full of stuff that he stole. And you go into one of his guest rooms and there's like, these he did not take from the show. I don't know where he got these from, but they're Captain Mal pillows. So I'm like resting my head on his body. It's really weird.
It's just the experience some of you want.
Yeah, but I'm sad. I'm sad that I didn't get to take anything, and I've learned my lesson. So I'm just gonna steal stuff
Next time.
All right, most of us have seen the outtake of the funeral in Firefly where Nathan Fillion's sister and keeps going around and around. Who was the worst prankster you've ever had to work with?
Him. Yeah. It's not so much he pranked, like there were a couple of things that he just, he gets bored, right? And he loves to make people laugh, but he'll do pretty much anything to make you laugh. And he knows I'm an easy mark. So it was usually me. I was his victim to see if I could break character and laugh. He's really, really funny. He is. He's also one of the most sensitive and emotional people I've met. I don't know if you guys saw his recent post on the 15th anniversary, what he wrote on Instagram and Twitter, but like, I cried, full disclosure. He has a way with words, that's for sure. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome to the town where you're a folk hero.
Thank you.
So with Joss now making the jump into the superhero genre, seeing as though he likes to cast his friends in roles, what superhero would you wind up being?
Oh gosh, I don't know. What's the easiest one? I'm so lazy. You know, like I see these people going through days and days of fight rehearsals, and I mean, they look so cool on camera, you guys, but it's so tiring. I remember when we were doing Serenity, we were all like, well, we're done for the day, let's go for dinner, and Summer was like, bye, and would have to stay for hours rehearsing, and she was so sore all the time, and they worked her like crazy. Like when we first got to the set to shoot the movie, we were all like, oh my god, we're here! And Summer's like, I've been here for 3 months. You know, like she worked really hard. So those people that you see, they're doing twice the amount of work. And like I said, I'm just a fat. I'm lazy. I like catering. I like sitting. So if you can find me a hero that does that, that would be ideal.
We need a hamburger and pasta eating superhero.
Like legit, I could probably save the world doing that.
All right, we have a Kaylee and a Hufflepuff out of school right here.
What was your favorite part about Serenity?
About the movie? About doing the movie? Well, the fact that none of us were worried about losing our jobs was great. You know, when we did the show, we all knew we were probably gonna get canceled, and it was nerve-wracking, and we were kind of just like, just do it already. So we would know finally. And with the movie, there was none of that. We knew when the beginning was, the middle, and the end was, so we could just relax and enjoy ourselves. And we shot on the Universal Studios lot. So there's lots of rides there, and they give us these nifty VIP employee badges so we can ride the rides whenever we want. So that was me on the mummy roller coaster in my Kaylee outfit. I didn't care. I had a great time. It was awesome.
I do Home and Family on the Hallmark Channel, shot on the Universal lot, and so we have that little walkway right in. It's
those secret stairs.
Yeah,
I know, it's the best.
So, all right, next up, 2 questions up. Thank you so much, you guys.
At your personal view, what was the worst part of Firefly getting canceled?
Well, I mean, the worst part for me, personally, was I didn't get to see those guys anymore. I think it's really rare when you have that big of a cast and everybody gets along so well. And we all got along so well from day one. So that broke my heart, that I wouldn't see them again. And then we got invited to our first convention and realized, whoa, there are people watching the show. And not only was that an amazing feeling of retribution in some way, but I also realized that, hey, we're gonna get invited to these a lot and we get to see each other all the time. My favorite memories of the show are all of the things we did after. We shot that show for a very brief time, 5 months maybe, which is short in a long career, but we've got to travel the world together since then. And we're like family. And we've had so many crazy experiences, I tell you. And they just keep going, which is so awesome. I got to see Sean last weekend in Nashville, and we went out on the town, and then at 10 p.m., I don't know why, we were like, let's get cowboy boots. So we found this place that sells 2-for-1 cowboy boots, so we bought them. I don't know what we were doing, and wore them around Nashville. But yeah, so we have a really good time, and that's what's meant the most to me.
Kaylee on Beale Street with hot chicken.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, it was great. I love Nashville.
So next, we have so many people love the show. So many people are coming out and seeing you guys, and What are one of your most memorable or favorite convention moments?
I've had a lot. I mean, so many.
Other than this being your favorite.
Yes, other than this. Yeah, there's a lot I can't tell you, of course. All the best stuff happens in the green room, especially when there's alcohol. You know, I was at a convention with Sean in the UK, and Joss was there doing the Avengers, writing the Avengers, and no one knew. And he found out via Twitter that we were going to be in the UK, and he said, I want to meet up. Let's meet up for drinks, and you know. I said, okay, great, but we're in Heathrow, which is by the airport. We're not in central London. He said, that's okay, I'll come to you. So he came all the way out to Heathrow, this little hotel in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, we had dinner and drinks, and he said, let's go dancing. And I was like, well, there's nowhere to go dancing, we're in Heathrow. And Sean said, the only thing I can think of is that back at the convention, they're having this disco. And Joss said, this is what we should do. We should wear a disguise and go to the disco. And my best friend was there, Jen. She's here with me this weekend, actually. She's back there. And Jen was there, and Jen's like, okay, so you wear my pink scarf. So she wraps Joss's head in this scarf. And we give him glasses. And we were mostly concerned about, you know, disguising him. It wasn't us. They'd met us all weekend. But Joss, that would have been a big deal. So, you know, we put glasses on him, and then Sean's like, I want glasses too. And I was like, Sean, it's not a Clark Kent moment. Like, it's not. So we went to this disco, which was so ridiculous because it was so clearly Joss in a pink headscarf and glasses that it was even more bizarre and called even more attention to him. But the best part was it was this room full of brown coats, and no one bothered him. And instead, they just kind of formed a circle on the dance floor and let Joss go crazy. And dance his ass off all night. And it turned into the best moment. It was the best party. And then at the end of it, he ran up on stage and said thank you to the crowd, and everyone was yelling, and you know, he was taking pictures with people, and then we went to McDonald's, as you do, and went to bed. But it was just this amazing spur of the moment night. And I think it was amazing because our fan base is cool like that.
All right, ready for you.
All right, so I actually have a Stargate question.
Yay! I welcome them. I feel bad for the Stargate fans sometimes. They're like, Stargate?
I got canceled just like you guys did.
It's true. Later, but yeah.
So what was kind of your favorite moment or episode, and what was your favorite part about the character?
I loved that character because she was very real. She just was who she was. She was a reluctant hero, if a hero at all. She felt very out of her element and was very nervous a lot of the time, very neurotic, and I liked that about her. I also loved that she chose McKay in the end, and they ended up together because I think they're a great match, and she mellows him out a little bit, and she kind of laughs at his neuroses. Yeah, I think, you know, my favorite scenes were with David Hewlett and Amanda Tapping, just because I don't know if any of you have met Amanda, but not only is she kind, but she has a wicked sense of humor. And we would just laugh and laugh our heads off. We did this episode called Trio, which is literally us stuck in a mine for days. So we shot in this tiny little room, dusty, dirty room, for a week. And we had these guest stars come on, children, who were supposed to kind of peek their heads through the mine and talk to us and try and get us some help. And they were such pros. And for some reason, something set one of us off and we started laughing. And it was so bad that we couldn't control ourselves. And I don't know if you've seen, Ricky Gervais does a really great thing on it. It's called corpsing. We call it corpsing in the business, and it's when you can't stop laughing and you keep ruining take after take, and it's awful, but like you can't get it under control. And like the crew's looking at you, like hating you, and that makes you laugh even more. So it was one of those moments where like Amanda's got tears streaming down her face. She's laughing so hysterically. And the poor kids, you know, it's their close-up, and they're doing so well, and they're not breaking at all, and I felt so bad. but we had so much fun. That was one of my favorite episodes ever to do.
A member of the X-Files up. Yeah, are you X-Files? Nope. Check.
Oh, nice.
So this kind of relates to my question. My name's Diva, and Nathan had Castle, Alec had Chuck, and so there's several of you that had successful series afterwards. Is there anyone that you would have wanted to be a guest star on? Because you guys seem to pair together and go visit each other's shows after the success from Firefly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only one I really wanted to do was Castle, and then I got to in the end, which was great. It was so great. And I just had my baby too. My baby was really young, but they, asked if I wanted to do that particular role, and I said, yes. So I brought my baby and my husband down to LA, and Nathan, of course, was like, stay with me, you have to stay with me. So we did, and we just had a lot of fun, and got to play with the baby, and baby went swimming for the first time in his pool, and all of that. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that episode, just because I got to play a bad guy. Also, my boobs were very large, because I just had a baby. Not so anymore, but I can, remember. I can look at that episode and remember.
Benefits of babies.
Yeah.
Hi, I have a Atlantis question. My favorite science fiction couple of all time would have to be Rodney and Jennifer. And I was just wondering, I think it just was getting up when Atlantis was canceled. So where would you have liked to, or think that relationship would have gone?
I think...
I don't know what, you and David talked about, or the writers, or...
I mean, it's all the writers, a lot of actors wish that they had more input, but really we don't. But I was so happy about that, because I know they were going the Keller Ronan route a little bit, which was great and a lot of fun, because I love Jason. But I love that she ended up going for McKay, because she's an intellectual lady and he's an intellectual man, and she needed that connection. So I think they were rock solid, and I think they would have lasted forever, honestly. It was a really good, healthy relationship. And I think, writers are smart cookies. They look at the actors, they see what comes naturally to us. David and I had natural chemistry from day one. We were two peas in a pod, and walk around on set, are those sandwiches? Let's eat them. And, very, very similar people. Very, very similar. And I think they saw that we had natural chemistry. So they went, oh, that's interesting. And maybe wrote it in for that reason. But yeah, maybe.
So Space Cases, Higher Ground, X-Files, Warehouse 13, what do you wish that people would go out and watch of yours, of anything of your body of work?
I did this little show called the LA Complex so 3 people watched it.
Actors like the LA Complex.
It's a good show. It's Martin Garrow was the creator of that show. Martin Garrow is also the creator of Blind Spot, and he was one of the executive producers and one of our writers on Stargate. So that's how I met Martin, was on Stargate. And Martin and I became really good buddies over the years. And then he wrote the LA Complex. The LA Complex is about a group of actors. There's this apartment complex in Los Angeles called Highland Gardens, and really it's about that, but we couldn't call it that for all kinds of legal reasons. But it's this kind of shoddy apartment complex full of dreamers, and there are people that come from all over the country trying to make it in the business. There are dancers, there are actors, there are wannabe musical producers, there are musicians, there's everybody. They're just trying, struggling hard to make it in Hollywood. And he asked me if I wanted to play this role of a woman who had a successful series about 10 years prior that had gotten canceled, that she gets recognized for all the time. There were a lot of parallels there. But she was also a crazy person, and I was like, this is also interesting. Is this what you think of me? She was such a riot to play. Her name's Raquel, and she's just this conniving, funny, dry, sort of heartbreaking character who will do whatever it takes to get back to the top, so to speak. And it was a short-lived show. It was, the CW decided to pick it up and air it, and it just really wasn't a CW show. It was dark and kind of the people were not necessarily gorgeous. They, were struggling a lot, and the themes were quite dark and quite real, and it sort of painted this sort of darker depiction of Hollywood, which is kind of true in a lot of respects, honestly. There's a lot of honesty in that show, and I love it. I think it's so smart and brilliantly written, great actors, and I know it's around there somewhere. I think it's on Netflix or iTunes or something like that. But yeah, it's a great show.
And even though the Highland Gardens is right next to the Magic Castle in Hollywood, where I perform all the time.
Oh, do you really?
I do.
Oh my God.
I'm there several times a year. But
I love the Magic Castle.
I'll get you past.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's really hard to get in.
Neil Patrick Harris was our president for a while.
So cool. That place is awesome.
This is the thing. Even though it's right near the Magic Castle in Hollywood, California, that movie was actually shot in
Toronto.
In Toronto, Canada.
So they built. Oh my God. Big fan of Toronto.
You have a ride home.
They built us a replica of the apartment complex on a backlot in Toronto, Ontario. So I was living in Los Angeles at the time. I booked the show. I moved to Toronto to shoot a show based in Los Angeles. Very bizarre. This business is very weird, but they built a pool and everything. It was unbelievable. We got to swim in the pool at our lunch hour, and it was
cleared
great.
the snow in Toronto for the pool.
We shot in the summer.
Okay.
We only ever shot in the summer, so we shot from May to October. Yeah.
And a brown coat?
Well, technically.
Yes.
It's varied.
Yes.
But for your scene in Supernatural, would you have preferred to stick around in that series longer?
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing with Supernatural. I thought, you're never really dead, though, so I'm just a little confused. That's why I wasn't super miffed at dying, because I was like, it's Supernatural. They'll bring me back as a weird demon ghost. But it still hasn't happened. And aren't they in, season 15 or something weird? I loved doing that show, because those boys are so sweet. They really are. I mean, they're the kindest, sweetest guys. They love their jobs. The crew loves them, and they make life very easy. So that's why I think that show just keeps going and going, because it's such an easy show to do, and everybody's just so happy on it. It was a lot of fun. They were so sweet. It's a shame they're not good looking, but I don't know. What can you do? Can't have everything. No, they literally look like male Barbies. They are super tall, super built. Their faces are perfect. No makeup on or anything. Their skin is perfect. It's very weird. They're like robots.
Can you tell us any shows that are coming up? Anything you're working on right now?
I have a couple of things coming up, just short things that I've done. I had this kid, and I just want to be around my kid all the time. And it's kind of made life a little hard. I say more no's than yeses, and the things I want to do, it just never comes to fruition, or they go with somebody else. I can't believe that happens, but it does. But my dream is to have something that shoots at home in Vancouver, so I don't have to, up the family and move everybody somewhere. If I could provide my son with some sort of sense of normalcy and routine, that would be ideal. So it just takes a lot to get me away from him, and especially for a long-term shoot. I'm getting there. I'm getting ready, but I also, when I'm old and gray, I'm not going to remember these jobs I said no to. I'm going to remember that I was there for my kid, and I want to do that very much. Kids ruin everything.
She was the youngest of 7? Yes.
I was, yeah. They were all half brothers and sisters, so they had moved out of the house long ago when I came around. I was my parents' love child. They had separate marriages, they had divorces, and then they came together and had me. So I felt like an only child a lot of the time. I was raised by my dad for the most part. He was a single or stay-at-home dad, and yeah. That was my life.
So you're going to give your son a perfect life?
I don't know about perfect, but I'm going to give him as much love as I can. So that's sort of my sole motivation at the moment.
Wow. Round of applause for that. All right, relationship status. What does it say on there?
What does it say? Single, taken.
Waiting for
a madman in a blue box.
Love it.
He's got to be here somewhere.
He's got to be here. I mean, you're in the right venue, I feel.
My question for you is, do you have a celebrity crush or someone that you really want to work with that you haven't yet?
Oh yeah, I have about 1 million people I want to work with. But celebrity crush-wise, totally. Yeah, I've made a complete ass of myself several times meeting these people. I have a pretty big thing for Benedict Cumberbatch. I think he's so brilliant. And that's kind of what gets me. I remember watching Star Trek. It was Star Trek that kind of turned me on to him. It's the monologue that he does where the camera's like this. And he just delivers the whole thing, and it's almost like they can't cut away because he's just doing so much. He's giving so much. And it was so brilliant that I had to rewind it and watch it again. I was like, that was unbelievable. And I met him, he was at a convention in Australia that I did. And we all knew he was coming at some point in the day. We were all in the green room, and they'd given us all these Tim Tam cookies, these Australian little magical cookies. And I've talked a lot about food in this panel. It's like kind of weird. It was not intentional. I don't know what's going on. It's like a theme. But yeah, I'm eating these cookies, and I didn't know that he'd come up behind me, and there were all these different flavors, and I was hoarding my favorite. And he came up behind me and he said, "Oh, those look delicious." And I turned around with cookie all over my mouth and said, "These are mine."
Being an only child, you never learned to share.
Nope, not big on sharing. Not big on sharing food. So yeah, I tell people that it happens to us all, okay? We're all fans of someone, and I get it. If you come up to my table and you feel like you're acting like a weirdo in a basket case, I feel ya, I understand, it's fine. I don't judge you because I've done it too. I met Mario Batali, I'm a huge foodie, clearly, and I was in New Orleans for a convention in January, and we went to this jazz bar late at night, and it was pretty dead, with this fantastic jazz bar, because it's New Orleans. And there's this man dancing on an empty dance floor, and he looks just like Mario Batali. He's got like the red hair and the ponytail and the orange clogs, and I'm like, why is this guy dressed up like Mario Batali? And then I realized it was him. And I lost my ever-loving mind. I was like, oh my God, I have to meet him. That's Mario Batali. And my husband's like, who? And I'm like, never mind. And I ran out on the dance floor, and I don't know how to approach these people. Like when I meet people I really admire, like I met Catherine Tate and I was like, or something. I just can't, I can't get the words or whatever. So I just kind of hover like a creep, and I was like just dancing next to him on the dance floor. And my husband said it was so painful that he had to hit me. And he came over and he was like, tapped him on the back and he said, "My crazy wife is a huge fan. Would you mind if she got a photo with you?" And he was like, "Oh, hi, of course not." And like threw his arm around me, and we take this photo, and he's like smiling and pointing at me, and I'm like this. And we have it framed in our dining room. And I walked off the dance floor, and I was like, I think that's the best thing that ever happened to me. And Charlie's like, thanks, babe.
We have 1 minute left. Let's ask the question, answer it quick.
I just want to know, what were some of your memories about Ron Glass, who's not here to tell his story?
What a great way to end. That's perfect.
Ron Glass.
Ron was so funny. It's one thing people don't know about Ron is he had this very sick and twisted sense of humor, which made me laugh and laugh. He was also a huge basketball fan, weirdly. And we were at a convention with a whole group of us. Nathan was there, Adam, Alan, Ron, Lorena, Sean, me, I think almost everybody. And there was this big basketball game on, and Ron really wanted to watch it. So they made sure there was a TV in the green room with cable so Ron could catch this game. And, the boys are being loud, and they're chatting away and getting louder, and Ron's looking at them like this, and he's like scooching his chair closer and closer to the TV. Stop, look back, and be like, scooch, scooch, scooch. Finally, he turns around and he goes, "Would you guys shut up? I'm gonna watch that game." And the staff in the green room were all like, They were so shocked that this came out of Shepherd Book's mouth, and it just made me laugh so hard. Because that was Ron. He was just like, tell it like it is. You know, he like spilt a drink on my pants once. We were like in a hallway, and he's got a crantini as usual, and he's gesturing like this. And I'm wearing white pants, and he's sloshing his crantini on my pants, and I'm like, Ron. I look down, I'm like, look at my pants. And he goes, girl, those were ugly pants anyway.